21 Mind Traps, the ultimate guide to your most common thinking errors. From why you keep seeing the same car everywhere to why that unfinished task is keeping you up at night, we'll unravel the mysteries of your mind and give you the tools to think more clearly. Cognitive dissonance, the mental gymnastics of self-justification. Picture this, you're a kid and you really want that awesome toy you saw at the store. It's the coolest thing you've ever seen and you can't stop thinking about it. You beg your parents, but they say no, they have their reasons. But to you, it feels like the end of the world. Instead of accepting their decision, your brain kicks into overdrive trying to make sense of this cosmic injustice. You start to feel a mix of frustration and confusion. You might start thinking, oh, well, maybe that toy wasn't that great anyway. Maybe it would break easily or isn't as fun as it looks. That, my friends, is cognitive dissonance in action. It's a mental strategy we use to cope with conflicting thoughts and feelings. It's the mental discomfort we feel when we hold conflicting beliefs or when our actions don't align with our values. This discomfort pushes us to find a way to resolve the inconsistency. Think about someone who knows smoking is bad for them, but continues to smoke. They are fully aware of the health risks involved. They experience dissonance between their knowledge and their actions. This internal conflict can be quite distressing. To reduce this discomfort, they might convince themselves that the health risks are exaggerated or that they'll quit soon. They create justifications to ease their mind. Our brains are wired to seek consistency. We crave harmony between our beliefs and actions. We can either change our behavior to align with our beliefs, or we can change our beliefs to justify our behavior. This is a fundamental aspect of human psychology, but when taken to the extreme, cognitive dissonance can lead to self-deception and prevent us from learning from our mistakes. It can create a barrier to personal growth. The key is to be aware of this mental trap and to challenge our own rationalizations. By doing so, we can strive for genuine self-improvement and a more honest understanding of ourselves. The spotlight effect. Why you're not as noticeable as you think. Ever trip and fall in public only to feel like the entire world witnessed your clumsiness? That's the spotlight effect in action. It's that nagging feeling that everyone is watching us, judging our every move. The truth is, we're all stars of our own mental movies. We're so caught up in our own heads, we overestimate how much attention others are paying to us. The spotlight effect can keep us from taking risks, from putting ourselves out there. But here's the thing, most people are too busy worrying about their own spotlights to notice yours. So the next time you feel the spotlight's heat, take a deep breath and remember, you're not on stage. Anchoring bias. How the first number you see can warp your decisions. Let's say you're shopping for a new car. You walk into a dealership and see a shiny SUV with a sticker price of $50,000. That price, my friends, becomes your anchor. Even if you end up negotiating a lower price, that initial number will influence your perception of what's a good deal. The anchoring effect is a cognitive bias that describes our tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive, even if it's irrelevant. This bias can have a powerful impact on our decisions, from negotiating salaries to judging the severity of a crime. The key to overcoming the anchoring effect is to be aware of its influence. When you're making a decision, don't just accept the first number you see. Chapter 4. The Halo Effect. When one good trait outshines the rest. Imagine you meet someone new at a party. They're attractive, well-spoken, and seem to have a great sense of humor. You're immediately charmed. But here's the thing. You don't actually know anything else about this person. You only have a surface-level impression. The halo effect is a cognitive bias that leads us to make judgments about a person's character based on our overall impression of them. This can be misleading. If we perceive someone as positive in one area, we're more likely to assume they're positive in other areas as well. This can cloud our judgment. This bias can have a significant impact on our lives, affecting our decisions and interactions. It can influence who we hire, who we befriend, and even who we vote for. Our choices can be swayed by this bias. The key to overcoming the halo effect is to be aware of its influence and to focus on gathering objective information about people. By doing so, we can make more balanced and fair decisions. Chapter 5. Gambler's Fallacy: Why Randomness Doesn't Play by Your Rules. Imagine you're flipping a coin, it lands on heads 5 times in a row. What are the odds that it will land on tails the next time? If you said 50-50, you're right. But many people would bet on tails, believing that it's due after so many heads. This, my friends, is the gambler's fallacy. It's the mistaken belief that past events can influence the outcome of random events. Each coin flip is independent of the previous one. The key to avoiding the gambler's fallacy is to remember that randomness is just that, random. Chapter 6. The contrast effect. How comparisons can distort your view. Imagine you're shopping for a new TV. You see 2 options side by side. A 50-inch TV for $500 and a 60-inch TV for $700. The 60-inch TV seems like a pretty good deal in comparison, right? But what if you had only seen the 60-inch TV on its own? Would you still be willing to pay $700 for it? The contrast effect is a cognitive bias that describes how we perceive things based on the context in which they're presented. When 2 things are presented together, we tend to exaggerate the difference between them. The key to overcoming the contrast effect is to be aware of its influence and to focus on evaluating things based on their own merits. Don't let comparisons cloud your judgment. Chapter 7. Confirmation bias, the echo chamber of your own making. We all have our own beliefs and opinions shaped by our experiences, upbringing, and the information we consume. It's natural to seek out information that confirms what we already believe, as it provides a sense of validation and comfort. But when we only expose ourselves to information that aligns with our existing views, we fall prey to confirmation bias, a subtle yet powerful force. Confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values, often without us even realizing it. This bias is especially prevalent in the age of social media, where information is abundant and easily accessible. Algorithms are designed to show us content that we're likely to engage with, which often means content that aligns with our existing beliefs, further reinforcing our views. This creates echo chambers where our views are reinforced and rarely challenged, making it difficult to see beyond our own perspective. Confirmation bias can prevent us from seeing the bigger picture and from considering alternative perspectives, limiting our understanding of the world. The key to overcoming confirmation bias is to actively seek out diverse perspectives, engage in open-minded discussions, and be willing to challenge our own beliefs. Have you ever learned a new word or heard about an obscure band only to suddenly start seeing and hearing it everywhere? That's the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, also known as the frequency illusion. It's that strange feeling that something you just learned about is suddenly everywhere. But here's the thing, it's not that the thing itself has become more common, it's that your brain is now primed to notice it. Once you're aware of something, your brain starts paying more attention to it. It's like when you buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing that same car everywhere. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon is a harmless cognitive bias that reminds us of the power of attention. Have you ever started a project but didn't finish it, and now it's all you can think about? That's the Zeigarnik effect in action. It's the tendency for unfinished or interrupted tasks to stay in our minds more than completed ones. Think about it. When you have a million things to do, it's the unfinished tasks that keep popping into your head, demanding your attention. This is because our brains love closure. When we start a task, we create a mental tension that persists until the task is complete. The Zeigarnik effect can be both a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, it can motivate us to finish what we start. On the other hand, it can lead to anxiety and stress if we're constantly bombarded by unfinished business. We live in a world of endless choices. From cereal to streaming services, we're bombarded with options. While having choices is generally a good thing, too many choices can lead to paralysis and dissatisfaction. This is the paradox of choice. Think about the last time you went to a restaurant with a massive menu. Did you agonize over what to order? Did you end up feeling like you made the wrong choice? When we're faced with too many options, we can become overwhelmed and indecisive. Studies have shown that people are actually more satisfied with their choices when they have fewer options. The key to navigating the paradox of choice is to simplify your decision-making process. So there you have it, a glimpse into the weird and wonderful world of your mind. While you can't erase these biases, recognizing when they come into play helps you to pause, question, and make choices that align with reality rather than assumption. Thank you for watching. Be mindful, think clearly, and take control of your mind traps.